Good morning, everybody. Welcome to an episode of Dr. Cammy Goes Keto, where I'm here with Mike Collins, Sugar Free Man. We are over at No Sugar Nation, and I'll put that in the comments where you can go to check out No Sugar Nation when you're dealing with your sugar addiction. And this channel is where I work on maintaining my ketogenic lifestyle and working on eating right, taking good care of myself, being off of sugar and flour and minimal caffeine. And thank you, Mike, for being here with me today.
Oh, it's always a pleasure, Dr. Cammy. Always a pleasure.
And so today I wanted to talk about feeling different. I wanted to talk about how I am feeling different mentally and spiritually and physically. I have all three things going on and it's been very interesting. And I just pray every morning when I get up that I'm going to keep feeling this way because my food noise is like zero. And I'm on today's day 17. And so I'm early in my, strict no sugar, no flour. And I was, prior to that, my son was in town and I went on this bender for 6 days and I managed to gain 6 pounds in 2 weeks, and I weigh in tomorrow to see what's going on with that. So right after he left, I got back on plan. And there were a couple of things that made me get back on plan. One of them was being sick and tired of being sick and tired.
Right.
And we talk about this in AA, right? We talk about how, that's when you get to your bottom. That's when you get to where you can have a chance of being sober because you completely surrender and you just can't do it anymore. You're at that jumping off point, right? So felt like that. And so the other thing that's going on with me is that physically I'm in ketosis. My ketones have been like 1.3, 1.4, and yesterday they were only 0.7 after breakfast at 11:30 in the morning. But that was because I figured out that I had eaten scrambled eggs with some onions in it and some tomatoes and a little bit of cheese. And I think that was enough to keep me out of the 1.4 because the other days I was just eating hard-boiled eggs with bacon and half an avocado. And I think that's what just that little subtle change can, cut those in half. So I'm working on that. And when I'm in ketosis, my body feels different. It feels like I'm in menopause, like I'm kind of warm and kind of revved up a little bit. I can
Well,
feel it in my body. It's really interesting.
right.
And it makes it kind of difficult sometimes to sleep. So I'm taking my magnesium at night. But that's been going on. And then spiritually, I've just been able to give it to my higher power and just realize that like I kind of ride on his coattails and that I'm really not the one that's doing this, by myself. Like he's kind of in charge, like he's the conductor and I'm just sitting there playing my little instrument, my clarinet. And
Mhm.
so when I have that kind of structure in my mind going on, that works a lot better for me because then I don't really have to be in charge of making the big decisions. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And it's kind of fearful. If it scares me because the word that comes to mind is unstoppable because I was talking to my life coach the other day and I said, well, I want to come up with a tagline so that when something happens and I have a choice to make about where to go, particularly with my food, it would be like, well, I'm unstoppable. That would come to my mind. And then that would set the precedence of where I'm going to go and what choice I'm going to make, no matter what the situation is.
I like that tagline. That's a good one. I like resilience in general. I did want to mention that a few things that I think through our journey and your journey, our journey together and your journey, is that, the rapidity or the quickness that you get back into feeling good, healed up. I think what you said is no food noise. You wake up, you're optimistic, things are going well, is pretty rapid because you've done a lot of the work, right? Even though there have been some bumps in the road, you've done a lot of the work. And, 17 days in, most people are not feeling this chipper. And so you have just, it's just a little sidetrack that you've been going on, which obviously for you is frustrating with the weight loss. Moreover, you've healed a lot in your brain. And the second part is the sensitivity that you express. I mean, I think you have to go reread Elaine Aron's, Highly Sensitive Person, you know what I mean? It's like you are so sensitive to all of this stuff, everything, the substances, the situations, the people. Your level of sensitivity is so high that you have to for me, it's factoring it in as my superpower, one of my superpowers, right? And I think you have to figure it in as one of your superpowers. But then the other side of the coin or the dark side of the beauty of the sensitivity is that when your ketones are high, you can feel it, your body's revved up, you know what's going on. So you've got to stick to what makes you feel the best. And we've talked about it a little bit before. This is a more advanced concept, but you're ready 17 days in because we've done so much preliminary work that the shame is the payoff. And that's a really weird quote, a really weird counterintuitive understanding of addiction recovery in general. That we go back there from feeling really good and having a lot of things going right, both in our diet and how we feel and in our life, to recapture the devil we know versus the devil we
Mhm.
know. That shame based person who's always fighting against it, mostly with substances or whatever, processes, gambling, sex, what have you. They're fighting against the feeling of shame by using these things, and you're on a really stupid up and down roller coaster. And when we get to the point where we are feeling good, which was the theme of your share at the beginning of this podcast, when you get to that place, it's just unusual feeling. It's not bad or good, and you would think it would be great, but it is just unusual feeling, and one we are not very good at articulating, right? And it's like, and really not very good at experiencing, and really not good at living to let things be good. I've told you 100 times, I've said it 100 times. I don't know if I've told you, but I have to be watched when things are going well, right?
Yes.
I have to
Yes.
be in communication with people when things are going well. I have to, use the tools that would stop me from using originally, phone calls and community and having my routine and my food plan and my exercise, all the good stuff, my breath work, my prayer, my meditation, whatever it is, and your attachment to your description of spirituality that works for you. You gotta, if it's working that well, double down on it, right? And so I see it all as positive. I don't see any negatives in it. It's more of an awareness, and all of this has always been a ability to separate, to cleave apart the good diet, the good food, the good stuff, what's going on, to be able to identify it physically, emotionally, not just mentally. When things are going crap, you feel, but you don't, you really can't identify it in your body. I love the revved up feeling or whatever. I'm feeling good, feeling revved up, I'm feeling warm, whatever, you got to like
Yeah.
chase that feeling and articulate it. But yeah, I mean, I think things are going good.
Yeah, it is. It's very uncomfortable.
Yeah,
It's and
weirdly.
the other yeah, literally. And the other thing is that I was thinking about this the other day about how if I've been really probably using sugar, which I have since I was, what, 2 or 3,
Yeah,
and then as you get older and you have access to the alcohol or the drugs or the sex or the shopping or whatever, you throw all that in there, that I really have not had a life where I've been completely clean,
yeah, yeah,
like,
exactly.
ever. I
Well,
mean,
you know, it,
well, today it's been 17 days or whatever, you know what I mean? And it's really, really cool.
yeah, it is. And really, I mean, let's define clean. I mean, I want you to define it too, but I'm thinking of it as you are not trying to master manipulate your emotional life with a substance or a process. And when people's just so the newer folks understand processes are, physical, gambling, sex, shopping, that kind of stuff, money dysfunction, different ones that do the same kind of thing, keep you in a chaotic state and solve this shame-based stuff or the emotional upheaval with substances or processes. So what you're doing, like, you're trying to stay in the new world, I guess the best way to put it. You're staying in the new Cammy world. You're staying in the world where steadily, not up and down on a roller coaster, but steadily, everything is okay with you, and you go about your day and your life and your week and your month that everything is okay. The process is not instantaneous. You're not going to lose X amount of weight right away. It's a steady, process. And the process of, basic just feeling this way all the time takes a little time to adjust to it, get used to it. It's the whole boiling the frog thing. Sure you heard that one, where if you put a frog in boiling water, it'll jump right out. But if you boil it while it's in there, it'll just die, because it adjusts and it adjusts. Well, addicts slowly adjust downward when they're using and doing whatever, but they adjust slowly upward as well. The adjustment is slow and you don't even recognize. Hard part is you do not recognize. You don't understand that you're getting 1% better every day, 300%, 365% better over the year. It's slow. And it's to
Yeah.
addicts, it's boring. It's not up and down.
I've experienced that. That's part of my past, is that
Yeah.
I've gotten into times where I've been doing really well like this,
Yeah.
like, day 30, day 40, day 45, whatever it is,
Right.
and it feels so boring.
Yeah.
And then I figured out that that's what serenity feels like. I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, that's what serenity is." And now, after this last, go around, with my son being in town, I really felt like I understand that now. I understand what serenity is, and I understand what it feels like, and I don't wanna lose it.
Yeah.
I don't wanna lose it, and when I got on that scale and I had gained 6 pounds in 2 weeks, and I was hoping for 4 pounds, but the scale, it kept going up, my heart just sank, and it wasn't
Well,
it was
hold
like
up, hold up, hold up. That heart just sank is what you were after. Unconsciously, you were after that heart sink. You were after that, bring me back to that I'm not worthy, I suck, what an idiot thought process that has, for you, at least for me, and I think probably you've been honest enough to say for you, been the driver of your life, that you got your accomplishments because you were trying to overcome that. You used substances and alcohol and stuff to get over that, to shut that damn feeling up.
Yes.
You were trying now to get back to it, strangely enough. I know people are gonna say, "What the hell is he talking about?" But until you've lived it, lived the serenity part, and had unconsciously felt uncomfortable to get back to that feeling, It was just too much, not too fast, but too much in general to feel that good, um, for whatever time period you had before the little bender.
That's such a great point, Mike, and it's like I could only handle it in bits and pieces. Like, I could only handle feeling that good about myself and being that close and being in touch with the way I think of it is like your true authentic self. Like,
Mhm.
I'm finally now getting in touch and learning how to live and being my true authentic self. And that's what that clean means to me.
Yeah.
Like, being off of all that stuff and really understanding and 'cause I am sensitive and I'm sensitive to who that Cammy is. And I'm now feeling that, like, sitting in that and being in touch with that, I'm okay. And one of the things that I feel why I'm okay is because I have the tools to manage when things come along
Mm.
that bump me off emotionally. When I have something happen that emotionally triggers me, and I used to just run to food immediately, like with my mom. Remember when I used to go see my mom and we would
Yeah.
record? I'd be like, I don't know. I just was eating beforehand and eating after, and I just don't even know what happened. And so now I'm able to handle things that are difficult for me in an emotionally healthy way.
Yeah.
And it's fabulous. It's been a lot of work, and you don't really you don't really see it until you've been doing it for a while. It's
Yeah.
like losing weight. It's like, you have to eat healthy and do a great job for months before you start seeing the weight come off consistently. It doesn't happen, that day. Well, I guess it does in a microscopic way, but it takes time to see a big enough difference.
Yep, yep, exactly. Yeah, you should, if you could know where it is, to link to that one episode where it took us the entire hour to figure out why you had gone from the gym to the food, because you had left out the part that you had visited your mother in the morning. Right? You had a good
Yeah.
you had a good workout, everything was going, you were a bunch of weeks or whatever, no sugar, and then because I can't understand it, I don't know why, everything was going great. Well, 2 things have come in here is the idea that, you were feeling good and everything was going well, but the second part is that you didn't realize that your mother's visit had upset you on a conscious level enough to shut it down. That was a great
Yeah.
episode. I don't know if you can find it or whatever, so you can link to it for this one. But the work that we've done, the reason I think you're able now to continue with the upward spiral, positive spiral, is that you can now identify these time periods. So you're starting to be able to discern what's really going on. Like it's not just an automatic go to the store thing. You're like, why would I want to go to the store? And then you start thinking back and you're like, oh, I had an argument with this person, or whatever.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm. Discernment, I love that, that's a great word.
Yeah, no, most of the discernment for folks, the base discernment for folks, because, we deal with a lot of brilliant people, is that their thoughts or their emotions, literally their emotions are in their brain. They can think about it. They can say, well, somebody died and I'm sad, but they can't identify them in their body. They can't get them down to their body. So they can't, connect the two. Right. And that's the work to be able to identify in your body. One of the things I've been studying a little bit, and I heard it recently, is that all of this stuff has to happen in your body before it happens in your brain and before it happens in your behavior.
Mhm, interesting.
Yeah, so it's like, the feeling of not wanting to go to the gym, you overcome that by going to the gym, no matter what it is. There actually now is science that the midbrain, I can't remember which one it is, which part it is, but it actually grows when you do things you didn't initially want to do, right? Like not go eat sugar, go to the gym, etc. So it's that connection between what you know intellectually, and most people listening know intellectually, or they wouldn't be listening to garner more information. Now it's time to go back on these episodes of Dr. Cammy and watch her process of how she's discerned or got the intellectual understanding, had the intellectual understanding, and now has put it in her body and understand. And basically what this entire episode has been about.
Yeah, and that's exciting to me, that's so exciting to me because having it in your head, like, all of us have it in our head, right? But
Yeah,
getting it down into your heart,
right.
that's the part that takes the work, and there's no secret for it. Everybody's like N equals 1, everybody's different. There's different ways that you do it, and you're at a different part in your life than everybody else, and you have to get to a different place than everybody else, into
Yes.
your heart, I mean, it's a heart for everybody, but everybody's heart is different. So, yeah, I'm just so excited.
How you're gonna feel and what you're gonna think about how you feel, and, it's easier to stop the process because left to our own devices, and again, this is one of my biggest thought problems of ever, is like, how is the deep limbic brain and the midbrain translating the body's desire, the body's ill feelings for a dopamine hit, so it needs soothing? How does it translate it into go to the store or go on a 6-day bender or whatever? It's like, how does it make that translation? Again, we probably won't know for in our lifetime, but it is a fascinating thought that when you use these products or substances or, processes, you're not looking for whatever the substance is. You're looking for that little bit of relief in your body. You're looking for a dopamine hit to, instead of going to breath work or instead of going to yoga, you've conditioned yourself to soothe via these substances or processes. And that's not something that's gonna be sustainable. Well, obviously, people know it's not sustainable long term.
And it's also but you do it because the hit is immediate. I mean,
It's instantaneous.
it's instant, it's acute, it's powerful, it's
Yeah.
different than a yoga class. I mean, yoga, you feel really good after your yoga class as you're, like, walking to the car, and that's, like, an hour later, you know? You eat
Yes.
that sugar and within 2 minutes, you know?
Yep.
It's wild.
That's a really good point. Very good point. That's exactly right. We've learned to hack that. What we really need is an hour of yoga or an hour walk or something, which would, I mean, which would do the job, would soothe you. But and look, most people don't do this, don't understand what you just said consciously. They've just lived and grown in a system and a food system and a family system where self-soothing was easy and quick, and you just did it that way, and you didn't think about it. You didn't think, "I'm gonna s" I always use that, it's not like you needed a beer on a Friday because you had a rough week and you're an adult and you knew what you're doing. It's just like, and people say this, you say it all the time, is like, "I don't know why I did it. I don't know why I did it."
Yeah, yeah.
Why you did it is an unconscious memory or an unconscious knowing that if you have the craving again, if the brain creates the craving, you succumb to the craving and the soothing happens, right? But you've got to get it to where when the craving happens, you go to yoga or you go for a walk or something else so that you
Call somebody.
change the process of, but you gotta be aware, and that's what we've been talking about for 30 minutes. You gotta be aware that that's happening and open up the vulnerability of trying to dive into it with other people usually.
Yeah, yeah. So this is great. So we'll go, but when we continue, we'll check in next week and see what's been going on with my week and how
Yeah,
I've been managing things and what's going on with the voices and the ketosis and all that good stuff. And we'll see where we are on the journey.
cool.
Sounds good. Thank you so much, Mike.
Alrighty, take care.
All right, you too. And don't forget, I'm going to put a link for No Sugar Nation for you guys to check out if you guys are interested in getting some of this going in your life. Take care.